Today, we're going to talk about something that took me way too long to realize in my photography journey. But I believe if you can understand this and apply it to your work, photography will make sense and you will get better. And unlike many of my other tips, it's not a practical, actionable thing for you to do. Rather, it's a way of thinking, a philosophy, and understanding how things work. You see, when I first began photography, I just snapped away. I followed what appealed to me and I took pictures of any and everything. Some of it was decent, a lot of it was garbage. And somewhere along the way, I forgot something important. You see, in the middle of my photography journey, I became fixated on taking good photos. I asked myself questions like, what makes for a good photo? Can that even be defined, and how would I go about it? I started asking deeper and deeper questions and tried to get into the nooks and crannies of the math behind photography. And there was a tug of war. Part of me just said, F it, just go take pictures. The other part tried to be intentional and structured with how I went about taking photos. And as time passed, I kind of just juggled my way around with these two ideas and learned and understood more about photography. And what I realized is that learning frameworks, having go-tos, understanding composition is all important, yes, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as you think it would. Let me explain. We've got it backwards. Like we mentioned earlier, one of the biggest things people misunderstand about photography is this idea of taking good photos. They think that if they focused on and tried to get good photos, they would. Now, you might be thinking, well, duh, Andre, of course I want to get good photos. What's wrong with that? Let me ask you a few questions to help you understand this. What do we actually do when we take photos? What is photography? Is it pressing the shutter? Is it getting good colors? Is it creating fancy compositions? Or is it even taking good photos itself? Define good photo. Is it the one with proper exposure? Is it the one with good colors? Is it the one with foreground, middle ground, background? The list goes on. You see, none of it makes sense because there's no one thing you can pigeonhole all of photography into and say, if my photos had this thing every single time, it would be a good photo. And you can argue that good photos means good exposure, but there are many cases where underexposed or overexposed images make more sense for that specific image. A darker image can make things seem more moody, while a brighter image can add a lightness to your photo. So the definition of good exposure depends as well. And if we try to define it too strictly, we'll just open up another endless loop of trying to define what a good photo is. When in reality, it's all situational and it all depends. So understanding this made me realize we got it all backwards. Photography isn't about pressing the shutter, getting good colors, creating neat compositions, getting proper exposure, etc. Photography is simply about capturing the moment. That's it. Capturing the moment. It's about looking out into the world as an observer, seeing different elements colliding and interacting with one another, and then capturing brief, finite, and rare circumstances as they are, as you saw it or as you see fit. And if you do this properly, you will get a good photo as a result. But what makes this photo good is different than what makes another photo good. Does that make sense? So what am I trying to get you to understand here? The point is that the process of getting good photos is misunderstood. We don't get good photos by trying to get good photos. And we don't get good photos simply by following photography rules, compositions you heard about online, and any of that other stuff. That can help us improve our photos in general, but it has us focused on the wrong things. That being that there is some comprehensive way that we should be taking our photos, when in reality, we should just be focused on capturing the moment. So the idea of a good photo is elusive. It's an illusion. It doesn't mean anything. And there are infinite variants of quote-unquote good photos across the stream of moments that are happening every single second. So don't try to take a good photo, because what a good photo is can't be defined beforehand, only recognized in retrospect. On the other hand, capturing the moment is something that's available to all of us. In every circumstance, there is a thing happening. It may be two folks kissing at the peak of a song during a festival, or the moment of victory, cheer, and applause after dunking one's head in an ice bath and downing a beer. No matter what it is, there is always a moment to be captured. And trying to capture moments instead of trying to take good photos is how we want to approach photography. Because the thing you'll quickly realize is, 1. Capturing the moment is possible. Taking a good photo is confusing. 2. When you focus on capturing the moment, good photos will happen. Meaning that good photos are simply a byproduct of capturing the moment properly. It's something people will look at the shot later and say, that's a good photo. So again, instead of focusing on taking good photos, focus on just capturing the moment and good photos will result. Let me give you another example that might help. The story of this channel. I tried to think of a good story for you guys that wasn't about me, but I feel like this is the one that makes the most sense. When building and running this YouTube channel, I, like many other creators, wanted to make videos that got views. I wanted to make money off of what I created. I wanted to share and develop my thoughts about stuff. And I wanted to build the life I wanted to live and be more intentional about how I did things instead of just floating around in the world and watching the time go by. And in this effort, I struggled. Making YouTube videos wasn't all it was cracked out to be. Advertisers pay you pennies, and it's hard to watch others progress in their careers while you felt like a failure. The culmination of that, overworking myself, not being smart with my productivity, and not feeling the progress of my efforts, resulted in me burning out a few years ago. From there, I took an indefinite leave from making content, save for a video here and there. And I spent nearly a year trying to figure everything out again. And it wasn't easy. But in that process, I learned how the world worked. At least a little bit. You see, in my efforts to grow this channel, build my career, and get somewhere in life, I forgot what mattered the most. I thought that by trying to get views, I would get views. I thought that by pushing towards my goals, I'd be able to achieve them. I thought that by trying to take good photos, I would get good photos. But I had it all backwards. Fast forward, roughly 1 year later after burning out, I revamped this channel. I felt like I understood myself and the world a bit better, and I started working out the kinks to make videos again. And some videos were good, other videos were a mess, but eventually we got here, where we are now. By the time this gets out, we'll be roughly around 12,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is insane. And I'm truly grateful to everyone who's been here since the beginning, as well as everyone who's found me recently. But the point is, growth started happening when I stopped trying. Instead of trying to get views, do what everyone else was doing, I focused on the only thing I could focus on: making videos, improving what I was doing and how I was doing it with each and every iteration. And the growth of this channel came as a byproduct of making better stuff. But I wasn't chasing anything, I was just making stuff. The same goes for photography. In my efforts to try and take good photos, I found myself taking worse photos. In that effort to try and be a better photographer, I found myself forgetting why I took photos to begin with. But when I flipped everything over and just focused on capturing the moment, great photos came. Photography became easier, more effortless, and I was just less stressed about it. I wasn't doing anything fancy, I just wanted to capture each moment properly. So it sounds extremely counterintuitive, and that's why it's difficult to apply. But if you get this and can apply it to your photography in your life, I think good results can occur. So let's get to that, some practical ways to apply this. Practical ways to capture the moment. I know I mentioned earlier that this is more of a philosophy and not really a practical, actionable thing for you to do, but let's do it anyways. There are several ways you can capture the moment. The first would be to observe. A lot of people are stuck in their own worlds. They are focused on themselves, what they're going to do, what they're thinking about, what they need. That is not the best place to be if you want to capture the moment. Instead, you want to pay attention to others. Put yourself in their shoes, what they're feeling, what they're doing. Pay attention to the motion of people around you, where they're going. If you can do this, you can move on to the next step. Anticipation. When you've got a grasp on someone else's actions, movements, and thoughts, it becomes easier to know what they're gonna do. And when you know what they're gonna do, you know what's gonna happen next. It's like predicting the future. It could be someone pointing in a certain direction, directing their friends, or someone reaching out for a high five. You know what's gonna happen next. And then, when the moment happens, you can take the photo accordingly. Next, something me and many other photographers struggle with: patience. In photography, there's a moment to be decisive and a moment to be patient. If you take the photo too early, you can capture undeveloped moments that are half of what they could be. If you're not decisive and wait too long, you miss the moment and capture it after it's happened. So timing is key, and I think patience is harder for most people than being trigger happy. So remind yourself to let it happen. Let the moment happen on its own accord. That's what will get you the most natural and better image. And when the time comes, be decisive. Final way to capture the moment: ask yourself a simple question. If I could summarize everything that's happening right now into one picture, what would it look like? Take a moment to step outside of your shoes and look at the world from above. What is going on? What is happening? What is everyone feeling right now? What is today? And then try to photograph the essence of that. It could be a hot summer beach scene with people soaking in the sun or the ocean. It could be a calm blue day at the lake where the energy is to get away from the city and escape normal life. Capturing the essence can be different from capturing the moment. More on this in a different video, but it has the same effect of making your photos better. So 4 things to think about: observe, anticipate, be patient, and find the essence. And finally, if you want to bottle everything we learned up into one phrase, remember this: photography isn't about taking good pictures. It's about capturing the moment. Capture the moment, everything follows. Because a good picture is simply a byproduct of capturing the moment. Remember this and you're golden. So anyways, if you found this helpful, please share this with a friend. Also, check out Photography Essentials if you want to learn more about photography. It's free. And if you're interested, check out The Sinking Sun, my latest photography zine. You can get a free 4x6 print while you're at it. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in another video. Bye.